Thank you, Mr Chair. Appreciate that. Firstly, like my colleague, I'd like to congratulate the member for having her bill in the Parliament. Well done, and it must be a real privilege to be able to do that. Look, Mr Chair, I suppose I would question the title of the bill. I wonder whether it's aptly named, having sat through the submission process in the Select Committee and listened to the submitters. I do just wonder whether it may be better named Crimes We Don't Trust Employers Amendment Bill, because that was the kind of the theme that came through. Actually came through. It actually would be probably better reflect where this bill is actually coming from. It's about lack of trust in employers, and that just means, and that puts a lot of extra pressure on employers. If we're going to name a bill, we should actually have the name reflect what it actually is and what it actually does. And actually the other word in there is crimes. Is that an appropriate thing to note and call? We're talking about people that actually may make a mistake around the payment of
Grant, if you make a mistake, you're not going to hit the burden of proof to be charged. I mean, come on. It's not like a benefit sanction. There's actually a threshold you've got to meet before you'll be criminally charged. Maybe if you have a track history of not paying your PAYE, of your staff deductions, that might make you a bit more of an alert. I'm just saying, I'm not saying you did it, I'm just saying. Now let's get back to the debate, Grant. I'm sorry to interrupt you again.
Or not otherwise of their bill of their wages and salaries. I think crimes is far too strong. It puts a lot of pressure, unnecessary pressure onto the. This is about the title of your bill. It's about the title. The honourable member on the other side doesn't seem to like what I'm saying, but that's fine. This is all about making sure that we get the appropriate title, and it's really important that we do that. And disappointed that the member can't see the logic of that. And maybe if that member had sat through the process himself, they would have actually been able to see what was being said, and then would appreciate the new title that I'm suggesting, because it is about trust and the lack of trust that some see in their employers, and I think that's a sad thing in our society. So I really would urge the member to consider renaming this bill in a more appropriate way, because I think actually what it says now is far too strong on employers. Thank you, Mr Chair.
Mr Chair.
Carl Bates.
Thanks, Mr Chair, and thank you for your guidance, Mr Chair, regarding the stage that we are at this point in the committee, and would look forward to taking your guidance as we move through, that we're moving through at a pace that you are comfortable with, Mr Chair. But for now, I take it we are still considering that title as the first part, and if I'm mishearing you, Mr Chair, happy to take your guidance on that. But the title itself cannot be disconnected, Mr Chair, from the intent. And so I just want to focus for a moment.
I'd just like to remind people the intent is to hold employers who steal from their staff criminally liable. I don't think we want to distract away from the intent.
On the lack of clarity that came through the submission process about the point at which this Act would be triggered, because this, Mr Chair, relates to the title and an alternative concern I have around the underlying bill, particularly in relation, as I say, to when an employer could be caught out. So by way of example, and I need to share the example in order to get to the point of sharing the potential title that I would ask the member to consider as an alternative to the two that we have just suggested. And that is that an employer, through, for example, a mishap in banking that didn't pay their employee under the current wording, and I appreciate that there is an amendment to the amendment, and that suggests that maybe this bill is not drafted as well as it could be, because we've got to now make some amendments to the draft bill. But under the current wording, if an employer didn't pay their employee because there was a mishap with banking, or let's say, for example, they thought they had enough money in their account and it happened that there wasn't, and employees didn't get paid and they didn't realise that this was the reason, and it took some time to sort it out, that the employer could be caught out as having stolen from their employee. So, Mr Chair, I wonder if the member would consider, as an alternative, as an amendment to that, crimes, bracket, theft, bracket, even if it is an accident, close bracket, by employer amendment bill, because I am concerned, as came up in the amendment bill, about what the trigger is for when an employee could be caught out, employer rather, could be caught out in terms of having, inverted commas, stolen from their employee. I think, Mr Chair, that is the last of the suggestions I have at this stage around the title, and we'll be happy to move on to the substantive after the member has responded, if she so wishes, to our suggestions. Thank you, Mr
Chair. Shannon Halbert.
I move that the debate on this question now closed.
Dr. Vanesa Weenink.
Thank you, Mr Chair. It's so rare that I stand and take a call other than to move a motion like the previous member just did. So to be asking a question on this very important thing, which is the title of this bill, because names matter and words really matter. And so I just wanted to ask, in your consideration of the use theft, given that some of these things are happening in regards to people's pay potentially or other benefits in their employment, did you consider using the word pilfer or pilferage by an employer? Because that is really a much better description of the kind of things that we are dealing with. Or peculation or rapacity. These are words that potentially could have been better used. This is the kind of thing where a good descriptive word can help to really give your intent of what you mean when it comes to the kinds of low level of things that we actually see happening. And it was mentioned by my colleagues that there's not really much evidence of there being a huge number of crimes in this matter, or a big problem that we're trying to solve. And I just think that this is one of those examples potentially where we've got a bill that's looking for a problem to solve, and it isn't really, it's not necessarily that we've got a huge background problem here that we're trying to amend. And so just thinking further on these titles and these words that you've got, just really interested to see how much you dug into that and whether you've given any consideration to anything else. And I'll leave it there for you to give us your wisdom.
The question is that clause 1 stand part. All those in favour say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Party vote is called for. Please conduct a party vote.
New Zealand National.
49 votes opposed.
New Zealand Labour.
34 votes in favour.
Green Party of Aotearoa New Zealand.
15 votes in favour.
ACT New Zealand. 11 opposed. New Zealand First.
8 votes in favour.
Te Pāti Māori.
6 votes in favour.
The ayes are 63, the noes are 60. The question is agreed.
I think let's Vanessa's summary. Yes. At least I didn't have to interrupt for Vanessa. I think, are you still on mute, Laura? Yeah, we got no sound. On the system, it says you're not mute, though. Shall we move on to the next part while we fix your microphone issues?
Members, we come now to clause 2, and this is the debate on commencement. The question is that clause 2 stand part. The question is, well, I'll just say you sneaked in there, Mr. Bates.
Can you hear me now?
No, if it's about whether he's entitled. I hadn't.
Okay, now we didn't get into anything serious, so now we can hear Laura properly.
Okay, all right. Only Laura, Kiwi Skirt. Can you hear Sam? I don't know. Scream or shout or something. Do something.
You can hear me, Stacey?
I think everyone can hear us. Okay, so I just want to share something before my computer does something stupid again. Okay, come on, computer. Fucking hell. Okay, everyone can read, right? Can
Yes,
everyone
we
read?
can all read.
Excellent. I just want to. I don't think National can read, but let's read this together, shall we? So this section applies to person A who employs another person B and is required to pay any money owned to B in relation to the employer under an employment agreement between A and B, whether or not the agreement's in writing or is otherwise required by law. If A intentionally fails to pay the money to B, A commits theft. I think it doesn't say accidentally fails; it says intentionally fails, right?
So that's if, say, let's say Grant McCallum's a dodgy employer and he doesn't pay his staff week after week after week and go, no, I'm not paying you, then he'll have the police coming down knocking on his door.
Yeah. It's
so
pretty...
Not that he accidentally sits there and forgets to hit the payroll key on there because he's too busy being an MP in Parliament doing two jobs at once.
Yeah, it's the language is really clear. Intentionally fails. So I don't know why everyone's going, oh, what happens if the pay system doesn't work properly? And no, look, it's right here in the bill.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll stop sharing my screen. But yeah, I just have to show that.
And anyone, feel free to send this to your national non-supporting MP.
Thanks for watching. you're subscribed to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok. Who's got the Order Paper Podcast? YouTube, Twitch, Instagram.